Hello and welcome to this special Super Bowl 59 reaction edition of the Brett Chat Sport or BCS podcast. I'm recording this at midday UK time on Monday following last night's victory in Super Bowl 59 for the Philadelphia Eagles over the Kansas City Chiefs. In this episode we are going to hear reactions from fans of both teams, and let's start with the losing side. Here is what Chris Bates, a Chiefs fan from Leicestershire, had to say following last night's defeat.
Difficult to know where to start. Dreadful. Just dreadful. I think if you're going to allow a player of Hurts' quality to play just in a free way, the way that he wants to play and run the game, then you're going to be in big trouble. People have been allowing Patrick Mahomes to do that for years. Look where it gets them. And then if you can keep Mahomes quiet, then that's going to be a problem for the Chiefs. And honestly, from the first missed pass into Travis Kelce, I thought there was going to be trouble. It happens a second time, and you think, well, when does that happen in twice in one game? And it never really got going. Honestly, I'd given up by half time. So massive congratulations to the Eagles, because what they've done this season is just absolutely extraordinary. Maybe they'll give it a go for the three-peat this time, but it's certainly going to be another few years before the Chiefs are able to have another crack of it.
And here is what Dr. Mimi Fibo had to say following last night's defeat of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm not wearing my jersey because I spent after the game, I had some private time with a tub of Ben & Jerry's, and I'm not wearing any bright colors today. I feel a little bit like I'm in mourning. It was just such a horrible experience watching that total blowout. I mean, the Eagles played brilliantly. They were young and fresh and fast, and they were flying around. I mean, we did really well to stop the run game, but that meant that we couldn't stop their pass game. And oh my goodness, they went through our O-line like it was, made out of tin foil. They didn't even have to blitz. They just used their front four and were right through. And they looked absolutely brilliant. They deserve the win, no doubt about it. They were, easily the best team on the night.
Over to the winning team now. Here is what Eagles fan and friend of the show, Jessie Depp, had to say following last night's victory for her beloved Eagles.
Yeah, so here we are, the day after, a wonderful, beautiful day, because the Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, dominated and destroyed the Chiefs. Mahomes finally got shut down with what? They sacked him at least 7 times. What an incredible game. The defense dominated. The Chiefs didn't really have a chance. I mean, look, what was it, 24-0 going into halftime? Come on. Like, is this Pee-wee football, or is this, the Super Bowl champions? So, very, very excited. So thrilled to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Go Birds. I have it's a Philly thing shirt on, wishing I was in Philadelphia right now, celebrating with all my friends, my family, with that incredible excitement game. Go Birds.
And here is what Eagles fan Brian Samuelson, who is originally from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, but now lives in the Southampton area of England, had to say following last night's win for the Philadelphia Eagles.
What can I say? What a game by the Birds. I mean, I knew the defense was good, like game-changing good, but I wasn't expecting that. I don't think anybody did. Happy birthday, Cooper DeJean, pick 6 on your birthday in the Super Bowl. But how good was Jalen Hurts? I hope all those doubters, all those pundits, the experts, as you want to call them, take a step back now and put some kind of respect on his name, because all he does is win. Let's be honest, all he does is win. But yeah, I mean, I'm over the moon. Yeah, what a game. Go Birds!
And finally, here's what friend of the show, Ryan Owen, had to say following last night's victory over the Kansas City Chiefs.
40-22 is pretty good, but at one point I was starting to think, how many points are we going to score here? Because it could have got a little silly, and I suppose it was a little silly anyway, but no, I feel great. I feel fantastic. I feel like vindicated. I said all week, I had a quiet confidence, quite a calm confidence is the best way I would put it all week, because with the exception of saying in isolation Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, which I would agree with. In isolation, if they were playing in a vacuum, they weren't playing in a vacuum. They were playing a game where the Eagles had the better defensive line, the better linebackers, the better corners. The defense in general was better. The Eagles also had the better offensive line. They had the better running game. The Eagles also probably had better receiving corps. There was no real aspect of the game other than saying which of these two quarterbacks in a vacuum is better. There was no aspect of that game that I didn't feel confident about, and it played out the way that I thought it was going to play out, to be quite honest.
Thank you to everyone who contributed there. Much like me, they were all up until the early hours of the morning watching last night's game, and so it really is very much appreciated that they took the time to record those videos and send them over to me. It has to be said, I thought that the Eagles very much deserved to win last night. The 40-22 scoreline very much flattered the Chiefs in many ways, as the Eagles dominated from start to finish and very much deserved to win. As I said in my preview episode, it's a richly deserved victory as well, as the Eagles, in my opinion at least, have been the best team to watch all season, and it speaks volumes about just how good the Eagles' offense is that they managed to win convincingly, even though the Chiefs actually did a very good job of containing both Saquon Barkley and the Eagles' run game as a whole. It also has to be said that this is a victory for the Eagles that was based not just on the offense but on the fantastic work of the Eagles' defense. It was perhaps very fitting that Cooper DeJean scored a pick six last night and on his birthday, because it was a very visible sign of just how good the Eagles' defense was last night and also throughout the season. Once again, congratulations to the Eagles on their much deserved victory last night, and I, as well as everyone else I'm sure, very much look forward to seeing how they do next season. For now though, this is the end of this special Super Bowl 59 reaction edition of the BCS podcast. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye now. The BCS podcast is written, produced, edited and hosted by me, Brett Walker. Thank you to Boris Anderoff and Pixabay for the use of the music and sound effects in this podcast. This episode features contributions from Chris Bates, Jesse Depp, Ryan Owen, Brian Samuelson and Dr. Mimi Febo.